I'm Spencer Tuma, Director of National Legislative Affairs at Missouri Farm Bureau. As a grassroots agricultural organization, we know that farmers and ranchers care about the environment. However, we also know that many political activists and government agencies believe that agriculture is to blame for climate change. This can result in some serious government overreach. In this new video series, we're going to explore how government mandates can make farmers and ranchers' jobs more difficult without making the positive impact on the climate that the mandates promise. In May of 2022, the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, proposed a rule called the Enhancement and Standardization of Climate-Related Disclosures for Investors. Here's what the rule actually says. Feel free to pause and read it if you'd like. But if you're not fluent in legalese, let's unpack that. If you're not familiar with the SEC, its job is to protect investors by enforcing our nation's securities laws, taking action against wrongdoers, and overseeing our securities markets and firms to ensure that investors are treated fairly and honestly. So what does a rule made by a Wall Street regulator have to do with agriculture? The SEC's new rule requires a company to report the greenhouse gas emissions of the company itself. These are called Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions. But it also requires the company to report something called Scope 3 emissions. Scope 3 emissions are greenhouse gas emissions that occur both up and down their value chain. The agriculture sector provides nearly every raw product that goes into the supply chain, with a valued contribution of over $1 trillion to the U.S. gross domestic product in 2020 alone, and employing over 21 million people. While farmers and ranchers are not publicly traded companies and therefore not registrants that must report directly to the SEC, they will be caught up in the Scope 3 rule and take on enormous record-keeping and reporting duties. This obviously is a serious time, money, and staffing issue for small farmers, and the cost of this reporting could drive smaller farmers out of business. The level of detail in this mandatory reporting will also put farmers' critical data privacy at risk of being hacked or stolen. Even worse, the rules governing Scope 3 put the liability for proper reporting on the producer in the value chain rather than the publicly traded company. This could add legal risk and lawyer bills to the small farmers' shoulders. But wait, there's more. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, is getting in on the action too. As part of the Inflation Reduction Act, Congress added $5 million for the EPA to investigate companies to ensure they're meeting their climate goals. This level of EPA reporting and investigation will cause the exact same problems for farmers down the value chain. But while the SEC is concerned about shareholder transparency, the EPA is only worried about climate goals, regardless of the cost of the reporting. These actions are all a part of the Biden administration's promised all-of-government approach to climate change. Since nearly all of these actions are being driven by the executive branch, even a new Congress will have limited ability to stop them. Congress can provide oversight and attempt to restrict appropriations, but unless the priorities of the White House change, the administration will keep forging ahead with their plans. If you're curious about what farmers are already doing to protect the environment, you can check out the Missouri Farm Bureau Climate Commentary Series on our website, MOFB.org. Thanks for watching.